Hi, this is the DES2 Unit 4 lecture on Advanced CAD Techniques. We're going to be covering lofts and sweeps by Todd Frazee. Sweeps and lofts. A sweep is a geometric principle of sweeping a shape along a path to make a 3D shape. Imagine forming wet sand or concrete by dragging a shape through the material, like the example of this concrete setter doing so as they make a curved curb, shown in the image on the right. The shape, in this case, for the profile, is the tool the worker is holding, and the path is the curved direction the worker moves the tool through the concrete to form the swept shape. A loft is a geometric principle developed originally in the shipbuilding industry for creating complex 3D shapes, primarily driven by a series of cross-sections, which has also been widely adopted by the aircraft industry. Imagine looking at the ribs on the inside of a hull of a boat, like the image on the right. Each rib would represent a cross-section in the loft guiding the shape of the skin material of the hull, which in this case is wood. AutoCAD Sweep Command. The sweep command in AutoCAD requires two objects. First, a profile shape to be swept, which is represented by the S-shaped curve on the right. And second, a two-dimensional or three-dimensional shape to be used as the sweep path, which is represented by the orange curve on the right. When the sweep command is applied to these two elements, the resulting entity is a swept surface, as shown. Sweeping surfaces in AutoCAD involves sweeping an open profile shape, as used in the prior example. The black swept profile is just a single entity and is not closed. When that is done, it produces the swept surface entity. Sweeping solids. Sweeping solids in AutoCAD involves sweeping a closed profile shape as shown on the right to produce the swept solid entity shown in the example on the right. Now let's go to AutoCAD and see how to sweep a surface and a solid. In this example, we're going to be doing first a sweep of a surface and then a sweep of a solid. We're going to go to the solid command. I already have my profile set up in white and the path are modeled in red. You don't have to have your profile aligned with your path for the sweep command, although I do it out of habit and practice. So we're going to go to the sweep command, and it first asks you what are the objects to sweep, which should be your profile. So I'm going to select the curve. Now you hit enter and it asks you what is the path. So we select the path. And the default settings has the curve go normal to the path and create a surface. Now let's do the same thing to this closed profile. And we're going to go to the sweep command, and I'm going to select my half circle with a line which has been joined to become a polyline as my shape for the profile. Select enter, and now I'm going to select the path. And we've now created our second sweeped entity. Now if I switch to shaded mode, you can see that the one with the closed entity is solid and the one without is a surface. Okay, that ends this example. The sweep command in AutoCAD includes different alignment settings that control the end condition of the swept entity. By default, the profile is aligned perpendicular to the sweep path, as shown on the right. Changing the default setting for alignment in the sweep command from yes to no will maintain the orientation of the profile as it's drawn in relationship to the path, as shown on the right. Notice the change in the termination point angles. Now let's go to AutoCAD to see how profile alignment is applied. Okay, in this example, we're going to sweep some similar shapes that you've seen before. We're going to make two solids, but we're going to change the end conditions for alignment so you can see the difference in the resultants. So we're going to go to solid, and I've already created splines out of my entities here. And we're going to do a sweep, and we're going to select our curve first, and then we hit enter. So if we take the default, which is set already, we're just going to go ahead and select our path, and this is the default alignment. Okay, we're going to do our second example with the sweep command, and we're going to change the alignment parameter. We select our profile, we hit enter, and before we select the path, we're going to type alignment. And it says, do you want it aligned, yes or no? We're going to change it to no. And now we'll select our path. Now let's switch to shaded view so that we can see the difference. I'll look at the bottom view. So the first example, which is default, it takes the curve in whatever plane it was in and tilts it 90 degrees to the path so that it always has a 90-degree termination on either end. If we are to look at the opposite side, the path stays in orientation of what it's drawn the entire shape. So you have a difference in the end termination that's not 90 degrees. It's in relationship to the twist of the path. Again, the example on the left is the default setting, which is yes. The example on the right is the option of alignment, no. That ends this demonstration to show how the alignment feature works with the loft command. Sweep base point. The sweep command in AutoCAD includes different options for setting the base point for profile shapes, the alignment location on the profile shape that will be moved along the path shape. The default base point is the midpoint for most entities, and the base point can be moved to any location desired by using the base point option prior to shape selection. Now let's go to AutoCAD to see how the base points are applied in the sweep command. Okay, this example is going to show how the base point parameter changes how these two lofts work, and we'll look at them side by side. Okay, we're going to select the sweep command. We're going to select our profile, and this is going to be the default setting. We select the profile, and now we select our path, and we create our solid. Now let's do our one with the change setting. We pick our profile, we accept that profile, the base point command to change where the profile is going to follow this path. So I'm going to pick the midpoint of the arc. And then we're going to select our path. And as you see that it shifted over quite a bit, and because the path was referencing here, our radius that we follow, or the path we follow, is actually a smaller part. So let's go to shaded mode and take a look at what we did. So as you can see, we have a much smaller sweep because the path was following the crown of the arc as opposed to the base of the flat as its reference. If I were to look at this in a side view, you can see how they are different resultants. That ends the demonstration of how the base point relationship is with the swept curve. Sweep scaling profile. The sweep command in AutoCAD also allows for the option to scale the profile shape as it travels along the path, as shown on the image to the right. By default, the size of the profile in the sweep remains uniform. The scale option allows the profile to be proportionally scaled along the path. Sharp corners in the path shape do not work with this option and must be smooth. Now let's go to AutoCAD and see how scaling a profile is applied using the sweep command. Okay, this next example is going to show how the scaling effect works with the sweep command. We're going to go to solid, we're going to select sweep, and our first one is going to be our control. So we're going to select our profile, we're going to accept it, and then we're going to select our path. So that's our default. Now we're going to repeat the command, and on this shape we're going to select the profile, we're going to accept it, and we're going to use the scale command. And it's saying what is your scale factor. So it defaults to 1, which means it's going to be the same side. I'm going to go 0.25, which will scale the opposite end to 25% of the starting end. And I hit accept. We pick our path. And as you see it, we have a taper that's formed. We're going to go over to shaded mode and see what our resultant is. That's a pretty powerful tool. The inside curvature should be the same. The caveat of this command is you have to have a greater value than 0 at the end. You can't have it scale down to nothing. You'll have to use a loft command if that's the result you're trying to achieve. Okay, that's the end of the demonstration of the scale command with the loft command. Sweep twisting. The final option with the sweep command in AutoCAD we will cover allows the option to introduce a twist as the profile shape travels along the path. The profile in a sweep may be rotated along the path using the twist option. The higher the value, the greater the twist. In the example on the right, the profile shown on the right in black is swept along the orange straight path with a 270-degree twist to produce the following solid shape. Sweeps with 3D paths can also be banked in proportion to the curve using the bank option. Now let's go to AutoCAD to see how introducing a twist to a sweep is applied. Here's our last demonstration with the sweep command, where we have a rectangle as our profile and a straight line as our path. And we're going to introduce a twist in this example. So we select the sweep, we select our profile, hit enter to accept it, and this time we're going to use the twist command. It's asking you what is our twist angle. I'm going to put 270 degrees and select enter. Now we're going to select our path and we get our twist. Let's move over to shaded mode so we can see what we did. So this is our twisted shape. Alright, that concludes the demonstration of the sweep command in conjunction with the twist command. This is the end of part 1. Please continue in part 2